in the room. And we welcome those of you that have been doing this for a while, and we just hope that you're able to connect with some of our new friends to, kind of show them the ropes. We have gotten a number of questions about our prep program. And if you're not familiar with that, what we did last year is with some of our ESSER money, which we are looking for ways to fund this in the future. So hopefully it's not a one and done. We're definitely planning to do this again. But last year what we did is we pulled, I don't know, around 260, 70 emergency certificate teachers from districts that had maybe 20% or more emergency cert teachers, and asked them just to spend time with us on Wednesday evenings. And so we, over a course of 12 weeks, we met with these 260, 70 teachers. Wednesday nights from about, it was supposed to be 7 to 8:30, but Sue Ellen, who y'all can't see, is to the right of me, I don't think we ever left before 8:30. We were usually online till 10 because we just stayed on to provide technical support. Many of our emergency certificate teachers, long-term subs, brand new teachers, they come into that role and they don't know what a lesson plan book is. And here we are trying to teach them about Power School or Math Talks or all these things. So we, as we like to say, we Harry Wonged them for 12 weeks last year. And I know my team is online and I can't see them all, but I know they will tell you it is one of the most rewarding things we've ever been a part of. We, just like our participants, we were sad to see it come to an end. But if you're like, well, that sounds awesome, and I sure would like to do that, you have access, everyone in the state. We dropped an episode every week last year, and now everything is on one page. If this is something that you would like to turn around in part or in whole with your emergency certificate teachers, your long-term subs, your brand new teachers, you just want to take pieces of it, all of the recordings, all of the slides, everything are on our prep page for you to use and turn around any way that's helpful to you. But I did get a few teachers yesterday that said, hey, I want to join this year. I'm like, we haven't started a new cohort, but until then, know that you have access to the site. And I always like to share the good stuff. And I think the last few curriculum instruction meetings I've shared, like, did you know? And I wanted to take a moment for you to see. This was in, I believe, AL.com just a couple weeks ago. If you've not seen this, just take a moment to read through it. I just want to say, please share this with your teachers, with your leaders. Alabama is doing something unprecedented. And I love to use that term in a very positive way now. To see what Alabama has done to close gap in just these last few years is just incredible. And to see the students that need us the most are the ones that are gaining at the quickest speed, I think says so much about your leadership, the resilience of our teachers and our students and their families. And we are just so incredibly proud of this work. And now we have this, kind of chip on our shoulder that we got to keep moving forward. I linked to the article so that you could see your individual schools, but we continue to get new data every day that is just so promising. So I just wanted to say, for me, my colleagues, Dr. Mackey, Ms. Martin, just thank you so much for everything that you're doing. I clicked on it. This is a slide that Dr. Mackey shared back in the summer, I believe, at SSA. I want to just share some things for you to turn around to your board, also to share with your teachers and your leaders, just some really exciting top level data that we know the rest of the country is talking about. I was in a meeting not too long ago, and there's a screenshot. It showed Alabama at the very top. It was one was around chronic absence, that we had the lowest chronic absence, if you can believe that. And also our EL proficiency, how much higher we were than the rest of the country. So just some really exciting data to share. Miss Bonnie Short, I know you're in the room here somewhere. She hasn't made it to my office yet, so she's probably sitting in her own office. But we just want to celebrate again and again and again our third grade data. pat yourselves on the back. I know you've seen these slides, but we've not seen each of you just to say, this is amazing. And continue to hold us accountable to help you do this hard work. Whatever we can do to support you in this, know that we will. We have field staff, of course, near you. But until we have our ears to the ground and really having those conversations with you, we need to know what it is that we are doing well to continue doing it the right way, and some of those things that we need to shore up. Something we've got coming, because after these sessions, your brain hurts. And I met with a group yesterday who it was a group from North Alabama. If you're in the room, feel free to show yourselves. But years ago, when I was there's Miss Bonnie Short, she heard me talking about her. When I was a curriculum director, and I would go to these meetings, and my brain would hurt, and I was new. And even when I come on, you can walk across the screen, but they know who you are. It's informal. No, they're still gonna see you. Bonnie is crawling across the table. I mean, across the floor. Anyway, after these meetings, I would call my buddies in nearby districts and say, I need a lifeline. I need someone to tell me how you're doing this. And so we started meeting with the whole group, and I know I'm trying to think, that was Gadsden City, Anniston, Oxford, Atala. This is when I was in Etowah County. Anybody that was close to me, we would meet and just go through the slides together and just say, okay, I'll give you my third grade pacing guides if you'll give me your technology AUP. It was awesome. And so we've continued to do that through the years, and I love to see how those have grown. So I actually joined the North Alabama one yesterday, and just listen, to see what are some things that we need to do and things I need to hear about. But there's so many little things that we have questions about. So our office, shortly, we're hoping to roll these out really quickly, is we're going to have a series called Leading and Learning. We're just kind of like bite-sized PD, or whatever you want to call it, where we talk about what does SHRIPS look like moving to fourth grade? What does a good syllabus look like? What does, how can we talk better about secondary grading practices? So we have a bunch of awesome AI. We got some sessions about AI. What does that look like in the classroom? So just stay tuned. And if you're crazy busy and you just can't make it, we're now using our YouTube to curate lots of great on-demand learning. So just be looking for that one and let you know that was on its way to you. I've got some questions about a document that I believe Dr. Davis shared a few years ago. I know it came from the department, and it was just like, here's a list of all the stuff people will need to do. And it wasn't just instructional things. It was things that health folks needed to do. It was some legal things. It was nursing, mandatory training. So we have almost got that document ready to roll. And so we'll be sharing that soon. So I just wanted to let you know, I'll be looking for that. We'll also share it through superintendent's memo. If you have not seen on our OSL page, our 6th through 12th grade ELA proficiency scales have been revised. They are amazing. We have secondary literacy specialists across the state who would be more than happy to come spend some time with you to go through them. If you need someone to do training, we are really, really excited to be able to take these proficiency scales to the next level, which includes, portfolio assessments, having students have those student-led conferences, looking at standards-based grading, at least standard-based lesson planning. So lots of great things coming there. And if you are new, and I need friends here, if you are new and you have not been to our Office of Student Learning website, we just created a kind of a secondary page, because sometimes it's hard to find things on the state website. So just to make your lives a little easier, and ours too, we just created a space dedicated to all of the offices, and really there's more, because attendance falls under us. You see that one. Mental health falls under our office. So there are others that we are continually adding. But this is a site, if you're looking for information, our goal is to be able to provide it to you and to the teachers within 3 clicks. And so if you're looking for anything related to the Literacy Act, I encourage you to go to the ARI tile and click that. We also have the bottom of that, it says OSL running updates. I know you feel the email pull like we all do, where we're probably getting 20 emails as we're sitting here. So instead of me emailing you every 2 days when something is coming down the road, what we are doing is we always put it on our OSL running updates. That is a page that it is almost updated daily. Anything that is coming our way that we think is critical to the work that you do and support, we put on that page. So make sure that you just bookmark that and check it periodically. Every once in a while, I'll give you a little nudge like, hey, have you checked it in a minute? But it is just a running Google Doc. And the reason we use that is so that if you want to see something we posted 6 months ago, because we add a new section every month, you can just do a keyword search like, I want to see when they talked about the Numeracy Act last, or when they were talking about teens credit, or whatever the case may be. Our office has recently moved to Google, which we are super excited about in Office of Student Learning. So we expect to be sharing lots more Google items and resources with you in the future.
Dr. Shields?
Yes, sir.
We had a great question in the chat, but it was a direct message, but I want to make sure that I mention it to everyone. I'll add contact information to the proficiency scale slide for Carissa Lambert and the secondary literacy team. For those that would want some direct support with those, she'd be a great start to connect to our other specialist.
And speaking of that, I just got to thinking there is actually a secondary literacy website on our OSL page. I think it's actually linked to from the OSI page. So if you go to our website and then click on OSI, the Office of School Improvement, you will see they have a whole tile dedicated to grades 4-12 literacy. Her information might be there, but yeah, I don't think it has everybody. And William, while I got you, will you go ahead and do a shout out for our RIC directors, our RIC centers?
Absolutely. I love to shout out our RIC directors. So you'll see on the screen the contact information for the Alabama Regional In-Service Centers, which many of you know who your RIC director is and the services that they provide. But if you don't, you need to know who they are. And so we want you to have their names and information here on this slide. And then on the following slide, you'll see a little bit about what they do in terms of the type of professional learning that they offer, which can be some of it's district-wide, some of it and region-wide, some of it's tailored to individual schools just based off of your needs in your individual districts. And then the slide after that, and Dr. Shields, I'm not a host, so I can't move slides, but the following slide after this one will allow you to complete a needs assessment that you can scan that QR code or click on that link, and you'll be able to give some feedback as to what your district may need, what your schools may need. And so our regional in-service centers direct their services and support based on your responses to the needs assessment. So we're encouraging you to complete that needs assessment and also share it with your administrators and teachers in your district so that your RIC directors can make the best decisions possible as to what types of support and professional learning they offer. And I'll drop the link to that needs assessment in the chat. Thank you, Dr. Shields.
And I understand that Anna Shepherd-Jones is going to be, we have some folks that have to move things around a little bit. So I'm going to kind of go a little off script, and we're going to let Dr. Anna Shepherd-Jones talk to us a little bit about the Principal Mentoring Act.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shields. I appreciate that, and I appreciate my colleagues for letting me change the order of speaking with you today. We are actually in Prattville right now. I've got Ms. Talina Madison with me in the room. She's just off screen, but we are here in our new principal mentor program orientation. So we are excited that our new principals are meeting their mentors today for the first time in person. So that we had to go a little bit out of order about the parts of the school principal and a couple of updates from us here.
Now, just a little bit, Anna. Or maybe it's just me. Okay, yeah, no,
There she is.
yes, I think you're still frozen, Miss Anna. Yeah, my friends are saying you're frozen.
What is new for you this
Tell you what,
when it
Anna, if it's okay, we're having a little trouble hearing you, and we've all been there, done that,
principal
so.
at? And are you able to hear?
No, ma'am. We can't hear you. So you might want to move to a better spot and give me a text and we'll bring you back on. How about that?
Yes.
Okay, good deal. So I'm gonna spin the slides here, and Bonnie is sitting to my left. So Bonnie, I think you should come while Anna is trying to get her a little stronger connection.
Hope everyone's doing well. I just want to start off by telling you thank you so much for the hard work that you've done to put structures in place for literacy instruction in K-3 to be successful. And the data is showing you did so much more than anybody thought you ever could. And we just need to stay the course. Be really cautious about making adjustments to your literacy instruction. Other than tweaks, we don't want to take away from the work that you have been doing to be so successful.
You can do either. I know that you have the whole thing.
I have a comprehensive memo slide for you so that you can reiterate any points that were in the memorandum that you may need to. Remember that when we put this slideshow in the memorandum in the summer, it is for your use. So pull out those slides that work for you to be able to emphasize those points. There's a lot of information in there, including things that might benefit your CSFO. We have all of the funding codes on one slide that you can provide your CSFO so that they know where the money needs to go. Leadership labs and curriculum virtual sessions. So last year, one of the things we kept hearing from our local reading specialists were, oh my gosh, this is the best professional development that I've ever had on coaching. Or they would say, I've been a coach for 5 years, but now I finally know what this is supposed to look like. And that is the whole mentality behind the coaching labs. We want to make sure that we were providing a face-to-face opportunity where they could see coaching in action. They would know what it looks like so that they could replicate that back in their buildings. They are the only people in their buildings in this role typically. And so sometimes it's hard to have that person to bounce off of or to say, this is how it should look or what I should be doing. And so having that small group where they can talk to one another, talk about the things that they're struggling with other people who are probably struggling with the same thing, and be able to see that coaching going on face to face has just been such a powerful part of the learning that took place last year. So we wanted to make sure we were providing that same opportunity to principals. We hear the same thing from principals. And so this year we have leadership labs. We want to be really cautious with principal time though. So we have reduced the 4 quarterly sessions to a semester session. So each semester, your principals have a professional learning opportunity. We need you to encourage them to go to this, to let them know that this is the expectation that they attend this session, because this is really an opportunity not just to grow your literacy, but it's also going to impact the other instructional components, because it's really going to have them look at the instructional components of their schools, not just literacy. So we really encourage you to do that. We have also put together virtual sessions for you as the ARI contact or for other central office personnel that you think need to take part. we're going to give you a little flash into what coaching communities and leadership labs are. And so you're going to get to see a sneak peek into that before those are implemented. And then we're going to give you the information that we think you need to make sure that you have as you move into that quarter. There's the link on this slide. You click on it, there's the password. It'll take you right into all 4 of these sessions, and it will send you an invite to all 4 of them at one time. So you don't have to individually register. So we want to encourage all of your designated personnel to attend these sessions. We also have a student-centered coaching guide that just came off the printers that we will be sending to your local reading specialist at their coaching community. We'll also have some of these guides for your principals as well. We want you to know the support that is needed to take them to the next steps. Here we have the continuum of teacher development, and this was the last stop on the literacy task force train. This was one of the elements that is in the law that had not yet been done by the literacy task force. And we had a group of individuals that are on that task force that represent all different types of educational roles. We have people from the state board, from a local board, superintendent, curriculum director, principals, assistant principals, local reading specialists, teachers, all of these individuals coming into the room together to talk from their individual lenses, interventionists as well, as to how we can best support the learning to continue. Because remember, professional learning is ongoing. And they really took a look at the law to see what is the law saying is required and made sure to build this in so that you kind of have this one-stop shop to see what the professional learning is that needs to take place. They looked at elements like making sure you have the proper professional development for your assessment, that being an element that's going to help support your instruction. And so they also looked at pre-service. So what do we need our universities to do and make sure that they have so that when the teachers get to us, they have a strong basis for instruction. So you have your continuum of teacher development. There is a link in your handouts. So be sure to pull this down, look through it. It also tells what we expect out of leadership. And so you want to make sure that you are on the right pathway for your professional learning. Phase 2 is really about making sure you have those foundational elements. Phase 3 and 4 is that professional development that's ongoing. Also note that we have high quality professional learning available, letters. Lexia cohort, I believe that cohort is just about to shut down. If it hasn't already, for sign up this year. But we also have the Nighthouse Literacy Structured Modules. These are on-demand, virtual professional learning. There's 18 different sessions on different topics. You can choose to go in any order that you want to, and it does not matter what grade you're serving. Any teacher in Alabama Public Schools or educator, I should say, can pull these up. You can even have your paraprofessionals join in on these professional development modules to learn more about literacy. So we encourage you to grab onto that, to sign up for those Nighthouse professional learning modules. We only have those through April, so we want to make sure that we're capitalizing on that opportunity. We also have the online professional learning opportunities through our video vignettes. And so you can go to our YouTube channel and see what is on there to help support your instruction. Requeuing legislation. I think it's really important that you realize that a memorandum was sent out in May to notify all districts that 3Qing is no longer allowed according to our Alabama code. It's not only allowed in higher ed, but also all K-12 public schools. And so you want to make sure that you look at these different elements in your instructional practices to make sure that these are not taking place. When we talk about 3Qing, we're talking about practices that lean on elements where when a child is trying to figure out what a word is, they're leaning on elements other than those letters that are on the page. And so we want to make sure that students are learning to decode words and that those words become solid to where they can be successful readers on down the road. We have assessment instructional supports for early years assessments on each of the assessment programs that are approved from the Literacy Task Force. And these have been newly created. You have access to these in the handouts. So it'll take you step by step on how you should be implementing and reviewing your early years assessments. Expectations for Unified Insights this year. As we are working in literacy, it's important to realize that we have student reading improvement plans that are in there for all of your students that you entered last year from the past year. All of those plans have stayed active unless you have deactivated them for some reason. But if I have a third grader and they had a plan, and that third grader has been promoted to fourth grade, that fourth grade teacher has access to that plan. They can see that this student had a plan. And so the real benefit of that is that we're not going to have to duplicate plans. You may have updates that you want. And so a tab has been added to all of your existing plans. So you don't have to do anything to it. There's just an additional tab where you can make updates to your student reading improvement plans to share any new information that needs to be lifted up. In addition, we've added an additional plan, an additional tab to all of your existing plans that says optional. And optional means you do not have to fill it out. It has things in there like your hearing and vision screening. These were things that we heard from various districts that said, you know, it would be really helpful if we had this information in our student reading improvement plans. We could easily, with the help of people who know more about technology than I do, turn that into your student reading improvement plans and make that happen. So know that we are working to make this work better for you as we continue on and we learn the program better. All fourth and fifth graders should have a student reading improvement plan if they have a consistent deficiency. The law says that you do not discontinue a student reading improvement plan until they no longer have a deficiency. So we're moving this element into our fourth and fifth grade students. And to do that, we use early years screeners to determine if they no longer have a deficiency. But you haven't been given funding for fourth and fifth grade students in literacy until now. There's a memorandum that's routing right now that will give you $6 per child for all of your fourth and fifth graders so that you can purchase early years screeners, which we'll call universal assessments for them, for those fourth and fifth grade students if you do not already have them. And if you do already, you're still going to get the $6 per child for your fourth and fifth graders, and you can use that to put toward intervention efforts for those fourth and fifth grade. Or move it up to older grades. So maybe I want early years assessments or universal screening for my eighth graders, because that's the only grade I don't have. You can use those funds for that. Or maybe you want to purchase some spider materials for your fourth and fifth graders. You would be able to use those funds for that. Intervention is another part of that. That is an element that is in the MTSS portion of Unified Insights. It's what we did over the summer for summer reading camp. But when we talk about intervention in literacy during the school year, we're really talking about those intervention programs. And so you will be doing the intervention in Unified Insights concerning those programs. There are regular checks that are embedded in those programs. And so you will be filling out the information on the updates, kind of your progress monitoring for those intervention programs. Then we have our portfolio. And remember that a portfolio should be started for all students in second grade who did not pass the second grade ACAP. You're going to make sure that they have a portfolio in their third grade year. This is a minimum requirement. It can be a collection only at first, but I do recommend you doing it in real time, especially when we consider transfers, because we need to make sure that all of the information is transferring with students as they move on. And then summer reading camp will continue as we have in the past. We also have a 2-pager here for you on student reading improvement plan, continuation and development of new student reading improvement plans, along with videos that our lovely Power School team put together for us, and looking at the continuation of student reading improvement plans for our fourth graders. we want to make sure we are supporting our fourth and fifth graders as we move on. And so we will do that through student reading improvement plans, universal screeners, as we mentioned, parent notification for any new students that you have to develop a student reading improvement plan for that are in fourth and fifth grade. Maybe you have a new student who came from California and they didn't have science of reading support and they needed additional support. And we had to develop a plan for them. Then we can make sure we involve parents in that decision. Providing intervention for students, there'll be grant opportunities for select schools and districts for intervention programming, for after school tutoring and summer reading camp for these fourth and fifth graders. And then professional learning. And you will remember that I mentioned about the Night House professional learning that's offered to everyone. There's also professional learning that special ed has been offering that is through PCG. And it is an excellent professional development, not necessarily just for your special ed students, but these are great opportunities for your fourth and fifth grade teachers to get, some information in the science of reading so that they can better support their students who are not at the level that we need them to be. And then finally, we're also going to be offering professional development in the means of a peer coaching cohort. We're going to put together teachers in fourth and fifth grade who are interested in learning from each other. And we'll give them release time so that they can pre-plan, so that they can visit each other's classrooms, so that they can reflect, also so that they can have professional learning opportunities with Diane Sweeney. We've already worked up some opportunities where we can pull her together and she can give some coaching on peer coaching so that they can help each other. So we encourage you to look at teachers you have that are already invested in the science of reading. They've already demonstrated this through some professional development opportunities that they have, and sign up for this opportunity for them.
Bonnie, we had two questions in the chat that were related to that slide. One being from Tracy, how would we discontinue an SRIP plan when deficiencies are corrected? Is there a click on updates to dismiss? Just want to make sure they haven't missed that. That's question number one.
Yes, there is information in there that tells you exactly how you discontinue that plan. Our Power School gurus are the experts in this. I believe it's also in your student reading improvement plan 2-pager that I shared with you.
Lynn, thank you. Lindsay said, is there any guidance for these students beyond fifth grade? Does the plan continue along with universal screening, etc.?
Right now, we're putting a direct focus on fourth and fifth grade because we know a lot of these are already in your elementary schools. And so it's going to be an easier lift for you, but the law does say until a student no longer has a deficiency. So we want to work to continue to support these students. So right now we're emphasizing that fourth and fifth grade. That's kind of your mandatory areas, but we will be working our way up to the other grades as we continue along. So we're just biting off one bite of the elephant at a time. Great question.
And then we had one more come in from Sheila. Hey, Sheila, how are you? Thinking about teachers of fourth grade students who were good cause exemptions, are there any thoughts to extending the grades of RLS to fourth and fifth as opposed to K3 only?
Extending the what? The
RLS.
So right now, based on the ETF budget, it's very specific with ARI funds that they are for K3 literacy. We have a request in with the legislature about looking at rewording this to where it could include those students with good cause exemptions, but our local reading specialists are allocated to the K3 area. And so we've got to make sure we stay true to that. With that in mind, I always want to encourage you to look at how can we leverage existing structures to provide additional support out elsewhere. So if you have your local reading specialist providing professional development to kindergarten, first, second, or third, sure, put in fourth and fifth grade in there, put in your sixth grade or other individuals who could benefit from that. We want you to leverage that. But when we're looking at, hey, are we going to provide a professional development session just for our fourth grade teachers? No, that wouldn't be in keeping with the funds that are allocated for the local reading specialist. So we want to make sure that we are working with the intent of that, but also really looking to see how can we leverage those processes. If you're bringing the 4th and 5th grade teachers, it's not really costing you any additional time or funds to be able to implement that. So try to work within your existing structures. Great question, though.
Thank you, Bonnie.
We also have our family and community involvement, and just as last year, we want to encourage you as district leaders to work with your principals on how are you going to make sure that you provide professional learning for all of your families. We want to make sure that they have opportunity to learn about the Literacy Act. Y'all did a great job with this. We have updated our training resources. Your regional specialists have these updated training resources to be able to support you. They will work to help you with this. The professional learning should really take place from someone in your district. Principal, local reading specialist, curriculum director, they should really be leading the professional development. However, we're here to help support you. We know in the end, you're going to be the one that's going to be asked the question by the parents. So we want to make sure we're equipping you with what you need in order to be successful with that. But in the same right, we want to work alongside you. So do not hesitate to involve us in those processes. And here's some great information for your families. We always have upcoming videos showing up on our YouTube channel. So you'll want to click in there and see what's available for you. And we do have our quick links so that you can get to information quickly. Hope you all have a great day, and we will be moving on to
Career Tech.
Career Tech. We'll let you go to Career Tech.
Thank you, Ms. Conley. Nice, there we go. We're almost back on schedule. No, you're fine. Take your time.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mickey Crenshaw, and I will be bringing you some updates on career and technical education. We're going to start off talking about the data. This core indicator report represents many things, but I just want to talk a little bit about the academic proficiency piece. These numbers are based on 11th grade CTE concentrator ACT scores from the 22-23 reporting year. As you can see, it is analyzed by gender. We have green and red. Of course, green represents that the numbers for the performance meets or exceeds 90% of the state target. And red represents that the performance falls below 90% of the state target. We have negotiated with the U.S. Department of Education our science state target. Looking around at other states, that target was very high, we found out, so we renegotiated that target. So hopefully next year we'll see only green in that part of the report. We've been very, very, very busy with course of study, course education and training, hospitality and tourism, and cosmetology and barbering are in full implementation this year. We have written those POIs, and we are hoping that they will be posted in the Schoology account by the end of the month. Human Services, Health Science, and Arts NAB were approved by the board in December of 2023. We are going through the textbook adoption process at this point, and we will be writing the POIs for those clusters in the summer of 2025. We have approved new credentials. They're listed on the CRI readiness indicators list. Remember, when giving a student a CRI, they must be declared in the program for it to count. I've talked a little bit about plans of instructions. We do have the Schoology group with various clusters already posted. And again, coming soon is cosmetology, barbering, education and training, and hospitality and tourism. I provided those instructions of how to join the group for you. CTE has many initiatives. We'd like to help you fund those initiatives. The QR code that's on the slide will take you to the memo, which will give you more information about various grants we have open at this time. And our CTSOs are always busy. They were in Montgomery at ACE yesterday. They're in Birmingham today. I think the only thing that is open for registration at this point is the virtual option. Please make sure that your CTSO advisors are aware of the ACE program. And that is it for career and technical education. Thank you.
Nikki, we had a question in the chat come in, says, what is the join code for the CTE Schoology group?
It is, if they will click, I think the handout and the entirety of can you go back to that slide? Can I go back to that slide? It's at the bottom of, this is just a screenshot of that, those instructions, but if, I think I have it in the handouts in the folder. If not, I'll make sure that it's loaded in there.
Yeah, I looked in the handouts. I didn't see it when I just glanced at it. So will you just double check that for us?
Okay, I will put it in there as soon as I get back to my. All right, you're welcome. All right, thank you.
All right, Anna says she thinks she has got some internet, so we're gonna give Principal inquiry because we got so many questions this last 6 weeks, and I certainly want to give her an opportunity to. No one knows it better than Dr. Shepherd Jones.
Thank y'all so much. And thank you for your patience. Are you hearing me okay, Dr. Shields?
Much better. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. All right. All right. So Talina Madison and I are joining you today talking about the School Principal Leadership and Mentoring Act. You hear us talk about Principal Act for short because that's just a lot to say. So I just want to give you some updates about what's new this year. If we can take a look at that next slide, we know this is a lot of information. This is a new law, that Principal Act. And part of that Principal Act is the rollout of this new leadership development system. And so when you see those letters, APLDS, that stands for Alabama Principal Leadership Development System. So they're getting that Principal Act stipend pending their successful completion of this program. So there's lots of different components that we are rolling out starting this year. So I just want to remind you of a couple of things. The first are new leadership standards for our practicing principals and APs. Y'all, this is a solid set of standards. The design team did a fantastic job crafting these, but those are those 5 domains that you're going to see on the outside rim of that program logo. So if you haven't had a chance to go ahead and start taking a look at those standards and having those conversations with your principals and APs, I encourage you to do that. But just know that we're going to have some training opportunities available as well. So the second component is the new principal mentoring program. Now, this is for newly employed first-time principals. So what that means is for brand new principals who have never been in the principalship at a school before, and their contract started on July 1st of this year. And that is actually why we are not able to be in person in Montgomery today, because we are here in Prattville. Our mentors are meeting their mentees for the very first time in person today with our program orientation. We're really excited about that. There's a lot of energy in the room. I think they're excited to embrace that support. So, but if your new principals are not able to join today, just know there's going to be a virtual option later in the month. And if you have not heard from me about the mentors, just feel free to reach out. Now, that third component is the evaluation system. So this is that new APLDS evaluation system. So this is actually required. It is replacing Lead Alabama for principals and APs starting this school year. The reason why it's required, and we're getting a whole lot of questions, and I completely understand why, is, hey, how do I sign up for this program? How do I do this APLDS? Do I need to declare that our district is officially participating? So there's no need to do anything like that, because we are tracking principals and APs participation and completion of this program through the evaluation system. So we'll be able to see every step of the way, hey, you are following these steps of the program, and you're letting us know through this evaluation system. So that's the reason why it's required, because otherwise we won't know. So that's going to be our format of communication. Now, I do want to mention that Lead Alabama is still available if you want to use that for your district administrators, but that's optional. Now, that fourth component is that high quality professional learning that you heard Bonnie talk about earlier. And so they will need to complete at least 30 clock hours from the state approved list. Now, just know that the Principal Act is tied to both the Literacy Act and the Numeracy Act. So that means that elementary school administrators do need to participate in that ARI and OMI training as part of those 30 clock hours. But we have lots of different opportunities for all of our principals and APs. Now, the last component is a framework, and we are working on that right now. Should be ready probably within the next month. But that's going to be just a resource to support you, to support your principals and APs, to help you understand these new leadership standards. What do they mean? What are the most critical skills and things I need to know? But also, what are some strategies that I can put in place to help me understand? And if we go to that next slide, it looks like, thank you, William, for dropping that link into the chat. You may be thinking, hey, Anna, you just told me a whole lot of information. But if we go to that next slide, I want to point out we have a great resource for you. We'll continue to update it. It is alabamaprincipals.org, and that's principals with an S. William dropped that in the chat for you as well. You can find all different types of information related to the Principal Act and this APLDS program right here, right at your fingertips. So you may have been thinking, hey, where do I find those new leadership standards? Hey, where do I find that state approved list of professional learning? All of this is right here. I'm also going to drop in a link to a document that you may find to be helpful. You may be saying, okay, Anna, just take it step by step. What exactly do I need to do, and what's my timeline for it? What are those deadlines? So I just dropped a link to that program timeline. It lays out, hey, superintendents, this is what you should be doing. APLDS district contact, this is what you should be doing. Hey, school administrators, this is what you should be doing. So just another tool for you to kind of help keep you on track so that we are all completing that program successfully this year. Any FAQs we update, any memos, it's going to be there too. And then your district may also be wanting to request professional learning that you're providing your principals and APs. There's a request form. So there's a link for that. So also, lots of different videos for you. Okay, so a lot of folks right now are trying to get into that new APLDS evaluation system, trying to understand those steps. It does look different. So we're still going to AIM, still clicking on that TE tile, but what we're clicking on now is that APLDS evaluation system. Now it's going to look different for you as district administrators and superintendents than it does for your principals and APs. And so for that reason, if you just go to that alabamaprincipals.org, click on that evaluation system tab, you are going to see step-by-step directions for you and screenshots for you, as well as your principals and APs. We're really trying to not have you say, okay, principal, AP, I don't know and see what you see, so I'm just going to sit side by side with somebody and kind of look at your screen and go through it. We want you to feel prepared. So there's lots of different resources for you there. And if we can go to that next slide, I just want to go over a couple deadlines with y'all. Related to the TE application. So we have different evaluation systems, right? For the teachers, now we've got for our school leaders, and then we've got that Lead Alabama. So here are some deadlines that were put out in a memo in July. Just a couple of reminders about where we should be in the process is that logging in, making sure everybody's logged in successfully to AIM, that the districts have selected their district options, because if you don't do that, then principals cannot access their APLDS evaluation system. And so we're kind of running in to some of those issues. So that would be that first step. Now, just as a reminder, that self-assessment is not going to be in place for APLDS for a couple of years. So if you have any principals and APs telling you, hey, I don't see a self-assessment, you just tell them, hey, that's okay. It's not going to be there just yet because we need time to train you on those new standards. Now, if you do have a principal or AP tell you, hey, I just did my self-assessment, that may be a bit of a clue that, ooh, we may be accidentally getting into Lead Alabama rather than the APLDS evaluation system. So that self-assessment is due October 1st. Now that PLP for teachers, school administrators, and through Lead Alabama, all that is done by October 1st. And just as a reminder, that PLP for principals and APs, a little bit different this year, right? They're focused on 3 areas: that growth, achievement, school climate. And then you'll see just some other dates for you that are hidden. We've got a couple other slides hidden for you in those slides. But if we go to that next slide, Dr. Shields, we are getting a couple of questions about setting those PLP goals. And it is because it just is new and it's a new format, and we completely understand. So we do want to say, just like has always been the case, you as the district administrator and superintendents, you are the ones who are going to provide that guidance for your principals and APs to complete that PLP, to set those goals as it relates to achievement, growth, and school climate. So you look at it, you approve it, you provide guidance, but we do understand it looks different. And so for that reason, if you go to that alabamaprincipals.org website, you do that evaluation system tab, you'll just see some best practice tips, some example goals, some considerations, and then even a PLP planning template to help guide you through that new process. But that is just a support for you so that you can better support them, because you're going to be the one approving this and having that dialogue with them, just like you always have. And then that next slide, I just want to lift up. We know it's a lot of information. So if we go to that next slide, Dr. Shields, if you don't mind, we've got session information for superintendents. So we're going to be updating them as updates come. And so if you don't mind sharing this information with your superintendents and school administrators, and we've got sessions for y'all as well. So if you just go through each of those slides, I think some of them are hidden for y'all. Just take a look, and if you can help us communicate this information, that would be fantastic. And then some other things that are hidden are that just maybe even example communications. At this point, the big thing too is making sure your principals and APs know what this is. And so you'll see an example email where you can just copy and paste it and say, hey, shoot it off to your principals, APs. This is what's new this year, everything that I just shared with you. Here's a resource for you to check out. So that's an option for you, just to make life a little bit easier. If you want to turn around some of this information in a presentation, we have an example presentation for you as well. But we are here to help support you in any way that we can. You can follow us on social media. We will be pushing out information that way, and feel free to reach out. You've got our contact information there. So thank you so much for the time. Yes, sir.
We had a couple of questions come in. One came in from Dylan. She said, should our new principal have heard who her mentor is at this point?
Yes. If that information was shared with us at the State Department, we have already notified superintendents and the APLDS district contacts and emailed who their mentor is. And so if you have not received that information, then if you will please shoot me an email today, that would be fantastic, so we can go ahead and get that process started and get the people set up.
Okay. And the other question we had come in, which is more for Bonnie, was the comments about leadership labs counting for APLDS credit, knowing that that's required for principals. One of the questions that came in was, is this a required activity for assistant principals?
So I don't know if Bonnie is still in the room, and I definitely don't want to speak for her if she is, but
Sorry, we just had the principal labs are designed or the leadership labs are designed specifically for principals. We've got those in small groups, and so it's important to make sure that we have those specified individuals that are invited to attend that for those leadership labs. And we want all of our principals that have a kindergarten, first, second, or third grade to attend that. We do have other opportunities though on the website. And if you go to Anna Shepherd Jones' website that she just directed you to, she's got some drop downs, and you can click the drop down that says ARI, and it will show you all of the activities that are eligible for this special credit for the Principal Act. And so you can see other opportunities that assistant principals can have in order to get their credits.
Thank you. And then Dr. Shepherd Jones, we had an additional question come in, not sure if you saw it, but should principals be evaluating assistant principals or the district person?
So that's an LEA decision, but yeah, it's the same structure of who's typically been the supervisor. And most people, most principals typically are the supervisor for their APs.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
About that website, I know that she updates that daily. We get a good question, we think on it, we sometimes have to vet it with some different folks, and because we know one person's asking and others are, it is incredible. So if you do have some wonders that come related to the Principal Mentoring Act, I definitely suggest you look at those FAQs.
Awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. So glad to be here with you guys. Would you say 200 and something folks online? That's amazing.
Yeah, 230.
That's amazing. Just wanted to share some updates from instructional services. Dr. Robinson, I'm going to turn it over to you so you can provide some updates on advanced placement as well as international baccalaureate.
Hey, thank you, Sean, and good morning, everyone. We have a couple of announcements regarding advanced placement and international baccalaureate. First of all, I just want you to know I'm here in the room with some science educators working on projects. So I want to thank you for allowing them to come and work with us. They're doing an excellent job working on this special project in science for textbooks. So the first thing I want to mention is the fall advanced placement coordinators meeting. We are having a virtual meeting on October 10th from 1 to 2 p.m. And this meeting is very important for local and district AP coordinators to attend. There's some new information that we will be sharing. If you're a new coordinator, and I understand we have a lot of new coordinators this year, you need to get this information about how to set up your AP classroom and get the students registered for AP exams and so forth. So please attend that meeting on October 10th. Now, we also have an IB coordinators meeting scheduled. There's the Center for Advancement and Study of International Education, which is out of Atlanta. It's planning to host an Alabama IB roundtable, and they want to have it on either October 15th or October 18th. Now, we have a survey. We're trying to determine which day would be best for you. So if you have IB coordinators in your district, or if you are interested in learning more about the International Baccalaureate Program, we would like for you to attend this meeting. The meeting will be held at Hoover High School on one of those 2 dates. And the IB program is a very good program, and it would be worth your while to attend. We have an Alabama liaison here for IB, Lindsay Cooper. She was on the call. She jumped off. I don't know if she's back on yet, but I'd like to introduce her to you so that you will know your direct contact for IB. So Lindsay, if you are back on, would you just introduce yourself right quick?
Yes. Hi, Dr. Robinson. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the kind words. But yes, I am your point of contact for all things IB, and I will be there in October for those roundtables that the Casey Fund is hosting. And I do have a QR code that can be shared if you want my direct contact information to learn more about the IB or more about these roundtables that are coming up in October. Thank you so much for bringing me in.
And thank you, Lindsay. And we have some funding available through Casey for IB. So if you're interested in that, please attend this meeting so that you can learn more about that. And there's some money through our maybe CCR grants for you. So, and then Sean, back to the AP. I know Sean will talk more about this, but there's some new information that you will learn about AP in terms of pre-calculus, AP Seminar English 10, AP Computer Science Principles, and also pre-AP. So please attend that AP Coordinators webinar on October 10th, and please make sure you sign up to attend the IB roundtable. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Thank you, Lindsay, for joining us. Again, so many of our schools participate in advanced placement and international baccalaureate. We want to lift those programs up, as well as give opportunities for schools who are not participating and are interested in a way to get connected and learn more about those programs. Dr. Robinson kind of just was a little bit of a taste of what I was going to mention, but just as curriculum directors, just wanted to make you aware that we plan to actually pay for all of our students who take AP exams in AP Pre-Calculus, AP Seminar English 10, as well as AP Computer Science Principles this year. And so more information will be coming out for that a little bit later, but I wanted to go ahead and give you that information up front as you plan through this year. We're excited about the success we've had with our AP exams in the last several years, but especially last year with so many students earning qualifying scores, and many of you, of course, have included all of those various resources and opportunities in your college and career readiness grants in your applications. While we're talking about the college and career readiness grants, let me just mention right quick that our target date is to have those ready for you by September the 20th. We're actually almost completely finished, and so it just takes a few extra days to get those notifications out, but really pleased at what we've seen, and just really the thoughtfulness everyone's put into how we can actually utilize the funding that's given to us to maximize those opportunities for students. A reminder that the arts education and social studies courses of study are currently being revised. We've been through the public input as well as the expert review portion, and the committees will continue to meet and work through some of those comments and the various input that's been received, but wanted to make you aware that our timeline is that we, fingers crossed, that we'll go to the State Board of Education for their review in November and hopefully for approval in December. And then we'll start working on the digital literacy and computer science course of study just at the beginning of the new year. As Dr. Robinson said about thanking you for allowing your educators to participate in the textbook adoption committees, we also thank you for allowing your experts to be part of our courses of study committees. It's so important that we have expertise from all levels and no matter the subject area. And I really appreciate you helping recruit those experts for those committees. In addition, let's see if I can make this work. Textbook adoption currently, there are several clusters within career and technical education as well as science that are going through the textbook adoption process. And again, much like the course of study timeline, we are tentatively scheduled to have those up for the board's review in November, and then fingers crossed that we will have those November, December, and have the caravans ready to go as soon as the new year begins. So be on the lookout for those. If you also have a new textbook coordinator and we're not aware of that, please make sure that that person's contact information is sent to Dr. Carolyn Jones, as well as ensuring that all of your curriculum leads are in education in the Ed Directory appropriately. I'm going to put a current list of everyone that's in Ed Directory that are in our curriculum lead groups to make sure that you guys see who's already in there. And then, of course, all those changes are made at the local level, because we also always want to make sure that our folks are receiving the information that we send, and that's all dependent on how accurate our Ed Directory is. Our English learners updates. Again, you'll see a couple of slides as well as some QR codes that'll take you to some elevation in-person and virtual training. This is, of course, for not just teachers, but also for administrators, your EL teams. You'll also see several other things. Marie, I don't know if you're on the call right now, or Anne-Marie. I'm not sure that they are. Again, we're so fortunate to have our EO regional specialists that are there, supporting the work you're doing in your schools every day. And I hope that you're leaning on those, and anything that we can do to support our students who are English learners, we want to do that. Also, just a reminder that we have a state contract with MasterWord that helps with both the translation of students' records and also that on-demand translation when you need someone who can help communicate in whatever that first language is. I hope you'll take advantage of that, and of course your EO coordinator is aware of that. Just a slide about some professional development opportunities related to MTSS, but specifically on problem-solving team training, as well as some trauma informed. The trauma-based approach, we've got several of those you'll see on the screen that our MTSS team is eager and excited about being with you guys at your districts to help lift that work up as well. The other thing that we're really excited about is the Maxwell Leadership Series. You'll see some information here about some upcoming dates. On the right-hand side, there's kind of a flyer that shows you the dates of the next meetings, but we're also excited that James Span's going to join us on October the 2nd for that leadership piece. And I appreciate all of the folks that are on our staff that are working together to help make this possible. Just a reminder that Maxwell leadership, or the Maxwell iLead, is free to any of our schools. It's really a whole K-12 program that really highlights and spotlights character education. It's an excellent way for your school counseling lessons, advisory, just classroom teacher, when you need something that goes above maybe just the content area. I think you'll find so many amazing resources and lessons that can really be appropriate at all levels. I hope you'll check that out.
Can I add something about that?
Please do.
Just a real quick thing. So I think when, we started sharing some information about the Maxwell Leadership Series, just like Sean said, we're really just showing how this could be used in a school setting.
right.
But the beautiful thing is if you have not participated, and I see some names of those who have, when we all come together on these days is for adult learning. So for example, on 10-2, our conversation and just a really wonderful small group is about teachability. And then we talked about in our own little breakout rooms, we have conversations with folks across the state that we've never met, thinking about how the work we do has implications for teachability and what we can learn from that and grow from that. So if you just need an afternoon, like where you just want to feel something to kind of fill your cup a little bit and connect with folks around the state, I think you'll find that, I think it's about 45 minutes, just a great way to connect with other educators, teachers, administrators, counselors, anybody in our K-12 sphere participates. It's awesome.
And I just appreciate Dr. Mackey making it a priority because so many of our schools are always looking for how to implement various programs at their schools and how best to make those classroom connections with adults. It's an excellent day, and so I look forward to that one on October the 2nd. And then just a slide. So we've got a couple of things that'll be in the handout folder. One is the top 10 questions about student plans. That flyer is included in the resource folder, as well as here are 3 contacts from around the Office of Student Learning who can really be that kind of first contact with Christy from MTSS, Misty is from ARI, and then Amy is from AMSTI. I'm sorry, not MSTI, OMI, related to all of the different student plans that are part of Unified Insights. We really believe in this, and we believe that not only how helpful it'll be just as you're able to track students in the progress that they're making, but also as students move from school to school and have the ability to know where a student is the moment that they enroll is something really powerful and something that we've just never had. Also, just some additional things talking about compliance monitoring. I wanted to just quickly mention that there are a few new additions to the monitoring process, one of which is the library media has been added, and then also MTSS compliance monitoring. We've got some information to share with you on that. Promise that we will not leave you without the resources that you need, but really excited about the direction that we're going in that. Any questions for me?
See any yet. And yes, Carrie, you should be seeing slides. We're seeing faces, no slides. I want to tell you, Jeff, I'm gonna get you queued up here while we're making sure everybody's seeing slides. So as I shared with you back in the spring, something when you start a new job, and for me, I'm almost 2 years into this, so I guess I can't say new anymore. But one of the things I really wanted to create a space for, early in the first week or so of my tenure in this work, was to create a dedicated space to talk about how we can do all things outside of school better. I don't know how many of you have ever been charged with leading the secondary summer school. I was one of those, and that was every year I did it. I was like, I felt shamed because I knew I could do better. And with all the work we've put in play with the Literacy Act and the Numeracy Act and just so many great things, we want to make sure that we're carrying those conversations on with the work we're doing with 21st century learning with our, Jeff, I'm going to hush because I'm stepping all over your soapbox here. But just create a space to say, we want someone to be able to come talk to you and say, okay, what you got? What do you want to do? How can we blend and braid funds? So we're working really closely with 21st century. So Jeff, now that I got the slides all ready for you, I will quit talking and pass it on to you. Jeff Norris.
That was a perfect introduction. Thank you so much. And I do appreciate having a space at the table and student learning for this, because all of us who are local really know that the whole child and is the whole day, right? So 8 to 3 is not enough time to do all that we need to do. And so we've been doing the work for so long, and I really appreciate the fact that we now have this focus from Dr. Shields and Dr. Mackey that We want to connect and share ideas and best practices. And so the Office of Extended Learning, look, this is our introduction today. So what better way to introduce a new baseball team, football team than a hype video. So we'll see if this works. And if it doesn't, I encourage you to watch it later. But we have a summer learning hype video.
All right, I don't even know how to put the sound on, but I'll go ahead and click it. Tell me if you hear that. I know the play.
It's gonna be fuzzy.
Can you hear the sound? Okay, the OCD me can't handle that, so we're gonna do it so that I'm sharing it with the sound. So I want them to hear it. There we go. Let me try that one more time. Hey, everybody. Let me share with sound this time. Now, I got you.
Well, the music was not very hyped today, but if you watch it live on your computer, it's a little bit more exciting. But hopefully the content kind of gives you an awareness of some of the things that were happening this past summer. Literally one day into the job, I was traveling around the state, visiting some high quality summer programming and literacy camps and different opportunities that are happening around our state, which was really exciting and gave me a good overview of what was already happening and the work that was happening. And so as we introduce ourselves in the Office of Extended Learning, we call it OXL. It is all things outside the school day. So we're really looking at any kind of extended learning opportunity for any of our students. It's K-12. We want to make sure that we're providing opportunities for school districts and for local schools and for students to partner strategically with a variety of stakeholders. We want to make sure that we are promoting engaging and enriching activities, moving past just this idea of discipline or of students who are failing, or this idea of if it's a bad thing to go to summer learning. We want to make sure that while doing that, we also are bridging gaps in learning and preventing the summer slide. And then ultimately that we're preparing our learners with necessary supports and skills to meet their full potential. So we really are looking at all these different types of opportunities for our students, and not just remedial work or that piece of it. So in doing so, we're talking about shifting mindsets and shifting practices and shifting resources, and really connecting people is our biggest goal this year. Thank you. Will you switch to the next slide, Dr. Shields? So in the Office of Extended Learning, primarily right now, we feel like we've got a lot of momentum at several different levels. So on a federal level, there honestly is a pretty big push right now for these after school and summer learning activities. Some of that is possibly coming with funding at a later date. On the state level, we have a legislature who really supports this idea of summer learning and after school learning. And so we do have some legislative grants and some funding that comes along with that we're going to talk about. We also have a state board of education and a state superintendent who really support this learning. And then ultimately at the local level, we know we have lots of districts who've been doing the work for many years and who really have great things going on that we want to share as much as possible. So two of the big kind of components of this office right now, primarily we're looking at summer learning, and we're going to talk about those initiatives in just a second. And then in other ways that I'd love to partner with you throughout the year is just being a thought partner. This is one of my favorite things is really just having district phone calls and district emails who ask questions and who say, hey, here's what we've been doing. How do we make it better? What have you seen other people doing? What about this? What about that? And I really love connecting people and offering suggestions and talking with people and giving ideas is one of my favorite things. In doing that, we also talk about, Dr. Shields mentioned 21st century programming. I know that this is not really federal programs. This is our student learning, but as far as federal programs goes, we do partner with the 21st century programming, and they are actually about later this school year to start a new cycle of funding for 21st century. So if you are, I've noticed lots of districts who are looking for funding and who are looking for opportunities, especially for after school programming. I can't say enough great things about 21st century, and I would encourage you to reach out. I can connect you with our federal programs office who will oversee that, but more funding will be coming for that. We also want to, whatever programs we have in place for after school programming, we want to make sure those are quality programs. So helping people connect to community partners and different options, we really want to create some type of repository for that. So when school districts are looking, you're not scrambling, because what we find a lot of times is that we are silos, and you know that from local school districts, that we're all doing this work, and ultimately we can all learn best from each other. So that's one of our major goals. You can switch slides. So in looking at some specific things, number one, I know this is the question I get the most right now, and it's probably, especially this time of year, is a really high priority, is we know we have to do summer learning based on the state legislation. We also know that in the past, we've had some funding tied to it because of ESSER funds, and we no longer have those. So a lot of school districts are looking for ideas and trying to make sure that they're putting on quality programming. And so I have good news and bad news. The good news is there is some funding available from the State Department, really, well, not only from the State Department, from the state level, I would say. The bad news is it's not a lot of funding, but it is, we are very thankful for what we do have. One of those is a formula grant that is based on stipulations in the Literacy Act. This means that every school district will see partial funding based on their early years assessments. We have been at the mercy of our assessment providers, and so we have just now gotten all of the data in from last spring, and so that memo will be coming out as soon as possible. Our hope is that those funds will be available for you to use and for you to know at least how much money you're going to be getting for that formula grant as soon as possible. We're excited about that opportunity. We also have another grant that is a competitive grant called the ASAP, the Alabama Summer and After School Program Grant. This is approximately a little bit over $2 million. And there is a competitive grant application process that you go through for this particular grant. It is open to school districts, municipalities, and not-for-profit organizations. And I will say in that little paragraph right there, it mentions local schools. This past year, we did have local schools applying, and we had several schools inside one school system. I believe that the priority is going to be more on the district level for the funding rather than local schools. So you can choose to give it out to a particular school, or you can use it across your school district. In particular, if your school district partners with a municipality or city or a not-for-profit organization, there's also a priority to partner with those groups with this grant. So I would almost encourage you to consider passing on this information to them to apply, because last year we didn't have quite as many of those groups apply as we wanted. So I know that that would be, you know, an option for you to use. Those grants do not exceed $50,000, and they do have a few restrictions, but ultimately they can be used for any kind of after-school programming or during your summer programs. Those will be need to be utilized prior to the end of fiscal year 25. So by the end of September, I would anticipate both of these grants going out in October, fingers crossed. The earlier the better, as far as they're being routed. But I think the funds will be available for the ASAP grants will be January 2nd. So you can start using those funds right after Christmas all the way through the end of September. Yes, I did see a question pop up, so I'm just going to address it now so we don't switch to the next slide. So the ASAP grant info will come out in a memo. It's being routed, so the application is actually through DocuSign, which is also in that memo, and it includes all the dates and it includes all the components of the application and the components that have to be in the program. There's an evaluation at the end that you'll complete to kind of show what you use the funds for as far as in a budget. We'll also start advertising that as soon as since it is for communities and municipalities. We'll also be sharing that on our social media sites, and we will try our very best to get it in the newspaper so we can make sure they're getting the word out. All right. Another aspect we mentioned was really connecting people. I think the best learning we have is when we have lots of people at the table and like we're doing at these types of meetings. And so one of our ideas, we had office hours last year, and so we want to offer some in-person opportunities as well as some of our virtual office hours for these extended learning and especially summer learning, but really all things extended learning. So coming up next week, we actually have 3 in-person events mirrored after our CNI meetings. And so we have a North Alabama, Central Alabama, and South Alabama opportunity. Those are located in Power School. So if you click that link to the flyer, you can find the Power School information. I also just shared it on Facebook and Twitter, so you can click on the flyer there. And I would really, really appreciate you passing that along to anybody in your district who is interested in summer learning. We are going to spend a day together. It is from 8 to 3, and we'll be busy all day long, starting some really good conversations about shifting mindsets about what summer learning could look like, talking about current practices and current realities, and then also setting some goals for the future. My hope is to talk a little bit about blending and braiding funds and just making sure that we put a seat at the table at your local school district and making sure we prioritize for summer learning that's coming next summer. We have to remember to save a little bit of money and not wait until April to do that. So we'll continue to have those meetings throughout the year in December and February. It will be the same information at all 3 meetings. So the hope is that you will choose one of those to go to or send someone to. Thank you, Dr. Shields, for mentioning that it is K-12. So we are not ultimately right now we are bound by law with K-3 literacy, but obviously we want to follow the spirit of the law. And if it's good for K-3, certainly it's probably good for all of our grade levels. And so there are unique opportunities for middle school and high school that we're looking into. If you get really passionate about that and excited, I'm setting some task force for our middle school and high school initiatives. So you can reach out to me if you're interested in that work, or if you have some really great things going on already, I would love to hear about those. Thank you very much. It'll be 8 to 3. Oh, okay, sorry. So there is a virtual, thank you for mentioning that too, Jennifer. There is, we will either record some version of one of those 3 dates, or we will do some version of a virtual session. A lot of these in-person meetings are going to, like the bulk of the work is going to be networking in the room and discussions in the room, but I would love to provide you with some framework questions that you could use with your school district. And so if there are things that I can record from those 3 in-person meetings, I will, or else I'll send out a slideshow of some sort. And I would just encourage you to reach back out after September 19th. And then I'll also be posting in Dr. Shields' running updates with the links to any kind of virtual session that we do. We'll make sure we publicize it there. All right, next slide. I think we're almost done. So when you start a new initiative, we want to make sure that we are really sharing our story and what's been going on and all the great things that are happening, especially when you are seeking out additional funding, like I would love to do. We want to make sure we are doing quality programming and continue to push for even better programming. And so part of that is making sure we're publicizing all the great things that are happening. So I would love to connect with you. I would love to do site visits. If you are interested in visiting some after school programs in different districts, I'm happy to set those up or to meet with you. I'm happy to, talk any kind of summer extended learning opportunities, and that would be a pleasure for me to do. Also, is if you'll just continue to follow us on social media. We have 2 different places you can follow, and we'll continue to kind of grow that social media presence, but we'd love for you to tag us in the things that are happening so that we can continue to share that story. That's my contact information, and if you have any other questions, please let me know. I'll stay on the line a little bit longer if you have any questions.
Hey, and Jeff, afterward, I'm gonna open up at the end of the session today, I'm gonna open up some breakout rooms. Can you be
Okay.
available in case they want to
Yeah.
pop in yours?
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. And you know what? You guys have been sitting here for a minute, so I felt like you might need a little brain break. So how about we take a little, I don't know, 7 or 8 minute, kind of stand up, get your coffee, check your email, and give you a minute to rest your bones. And then we'll come back, and I believe I don't know how we did it, but we are actually ahead of schedule. So we will pick up in about, let's say, pick up at 10:31. We'll pick up at 10:40. How about that? I'll see you soon. All right, I think we're back. I hope you got a second to get coffee or something to drink or chat. We're looking to see if there's any questions that came in. Do remember, once again, I'm going to create some breakout rooms at the end, and you can just choose one to go into. Bonnie is going to stay in here if you have some questions for ARI. Sue Ellen has her computer, so we can take questions for tech. But just know if you've got I got some wonders, I need a little one-on-one, that we'll be able to do that after. So with that, Carrie Richburg, I believe, is going to pick up for ALSDE.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. You can go ahead and go to that next slide and we'll get started. So ALSDE has 3 essential services that we provide all of our schools, K-12 for math and science throughout the state. And that includes professional learning, instructional materials, and ongoing educator support. And this is part of our Alabama's comprehensive plan for STEM literacy. And on the next slide, we'll talk a little bit more about math. One of the most recent offerings that we have for professional learning, you guys will probably hear throughout today's session, a lot of people are taking the time to update their proficiency scales. And so we at ALSDE actually pulled together teams of teachers and revised our critical standards. And so in May, we released a brand new package of critical standards and supporting standards, and then all the supports you at your curriculum directors and teachers need to support those new standards. So that includes focus maps that gives you a year-long plan of what goes where and what sequence you can think about teaching things in. We updated and revised our proficiency scales because just like anyone else, we learned a lot building those the first time around, and we just made some great improvements for the second iteration of those math proficiency scales for K-12. We also added some formative assessment items that your STE team has worked long and hard to put together for you guys, and those are available linked to our proficiency scales as well as on our website. And additionally, some professional learning opportunities. Several of you may have attended our 90-minute PLO about the critical standards and how it is this connected hive of resources that help make and strengthen our teachers and our students as we work together to lead and develop our math learning throughout the state. We had over 470 educators in those professional learning opportunities, and we have made those learning opportunities available through your regional specialists throughout the state so that they can offer that at a school near you or for your system in particular. We also have a lot of great hands-on learning opportunities for the classroom, and your teachers who came to summer training with us this summer or who are coming to train with us throughout this school year are able to request materials for use in their classrooms related to the training sessions that they participated in this summer and beyond. In addition to that, we have coaching that is done by our K-5 regional math specialists, and these are for your building-based math coaches, and they work through the needs assessment, the planning, as well as side-by-side coaching and helping those teachers debrief and reflect. And we know that this looks a little bit different in K-5 because of the Numeracy Act and our building-based math coaches, but we also offer that coaching in other facets of our ALSDE. Thank you. And the beauty of this, we are just now starting to see, after having 2 years of building-based math coaches, the growth in our students' proficiency on the ACAP, Alabama having moved from 52nd all the way up to 40th on the NAEP. These are just amazing celebrations of not only the success, but the hard work that your teachers and your coaches are doing in their classrooms. And so we're looking forward to seeing even more growth as we continue to coach both our math and our science teachers, K-12. And so on that next slide, we've got that same support for 612 math and K-12 science teachers. It does look a little bit different because our 612 math and our K-12 science friends coach teachers as opposed to coaching building-based math coaches, but we still have that side-by-side or virtual coaching option that helps your teachers plan and implement a lesson or a math practice or an SEP or DCI so that they can be the best they can be for the students in their classroom. The newest professional learning that we have for K-5 science is called the Nuts and Bolts of Science Integration. And this is an amazing crosswalk PLO that is also 90 minutes that talks about how our K-5 science units work together with major reading curricula chosen by your LEA and how you can use science to help you meet the needs of your literacy act and your literacy needs of your students by also integrating some fun science things to go with that. I know it's really hard to think about timing in a schedule and when do we teach this and when do we teach that and how do we honor what's tested and what's not. And so pulling these things together and watching our departments work together is an amazing way to get both science and literacy accomplished in your K-5 classroom. For 9-12 science, we have done an ACT science experience. In the 3 phases of this, you can scan that QR code to see the results from the pilot. We saw amazing results, and where all participating students were able to gain an average of almost 2 points on their ACT science post-test compared to their pre-test score. And so this is something really exciting and we'd love to do in your school system, especially this year. We know that ACT and science are changing their relationship in 2026, and that's something that we're working forward with and preparing for. But as of right now, when it is still required, we would love to help you guys improve your science scores, especially for your students who are looking at moving forward into STEM careers. For our K-8 students, on the next slide, you guys know that we have moved to the ACES portal for K-8, and the ACES stands for the ALSDE Center for Educator Support. And so we need all of our teachers to make sure they have an active ACES profile, and then they're able to order their kits through that profile. The beauty of that profile as well, I know several teachers have probably emailed you or emailed their ALSDE specialist asking about their kit and where their kit is and when they're going to get their kit. And our teachers will actually have the power from this website to actually check the status of their kit and make sure that they know where their kit is in the process and when it's going to be shipped to them. And then on the next slide, we have experienced some growing pains for our ACES process and science materials orders. Our vendors have had some delays in the demand that we've had for some of our materials. And so this slide just simply explains that we have really talked about not shipping out a kit until we have the essential component of that kit to make sure that the teachers can do everything that they've been trained to do to lead their learning in their science classrooms. And so that has caused a few delays of kits, but we are working with our vendors to make sure that we have those essential materials and can get those kits in the hands of our K-8 teachers as soon as possible. So if that is something that you have a question about, please reach out to your regional specialist and we will work as quickly as we can with our vendors to get that information moving forward. And speaking of vendors, on our next slide, in response to our Parental Right to Know Act, we have put together a one-pager that describes what kits come from what vendors so that you can use it as an LEA to make sure that you have your parents able to know where their science information and where their science kits and materials are coming from that ALSDE package. So you'll notice on this screen grab that there are some kits that have multiple vendors, some kits that have a sole vendor, but those are all listed out K-8 for every kit that your students could go through and show them where it is. For 9-12, our ASIM specialist wrote those lessons, so we don't have a 9-12 vendor alignment because we as ALSDE are that vendor. On the next slide, Dr. Shields. Thank you, Katrina. Our science material orders for 9-12 with ASIM is still going to be going through the regional ASIM site where your regional specialist puts together that kit and it's driven on a truck to your school system. But we just do want you to think ahead about we are transitioning to that ACES portal for the 26-27 school year. And so everything will move to that portal where they can request. So you do want to make sure you've got your teacher information forms completed for your high school science teachers, and then make sure they complete that lesson request form at least 2 weeks in advance. We want to make sure that we can plan ahead and make sure you have your materials in a timely manner. All right. Concerning science proficiency skills, because our K-12 specialists are working really hard on writing the lessons and materials necessary for the new standard, we are doing this extended release plan for the new science proficiency skills. So you can see here in the spring of 2025, we've got 6 courses or grade levels coming out, and then at least 7 more will come out in 2026. And then the final high school course will come out in 2027. So make sure that you're keeping your teachers up to date on those newest proficiency scales as we transition for that full implementation year of our new science standard. On the next slide, we've got some information about our Curio partners. And so we're really excited about this study that we're doing with geometry. It's going to be free to our teachers in schools who are interested in participating and learning more about what virtual reality and augmented reality can do to help us and our students learn geometry. Right now, we're in the early phase of this grant. So it is something where we're just gathering ideas and building lessons. This is also the beauty of this. Curio is allowing us to work with our math teachers and build lessons that are specific to Alabama's needs. And so if this is something that interests you or interests your teachers, we would love for you to start thinking about participating in our virtual learning study as we get ahead of this. So just something to know on the front end that's coming very, very soon. All right. Yes, robotics is next. And so robotics grants are being accepted through September 30th at 5 p.m. You can do that. It is a DocuSign application. We do 1 grant per school, and it can be up to $3,500 per school. So please apply for those. We've seen so many great systems apply for those and come up with great products for their robotics programs. And we would love to have as many applications as we can handle. And don't forget that deadline is September 30th at 5 p.m. All right. And if you've got questions, we would love for you to contact us at the State Department. If not, your regional specialist. We've got our director, Kathy Jones, myself, the math administrator, Amy Murphy, the science administrator, and our tech administrator, Jennifer McCreary. We would love to work with you and help you with any math or science needs that you have in your school system. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. And just, okay, because your job has changed over the last, number of months. So Carrie is now our administrator for secondary math. And who is that beside you?
This is Leslie. He is beside me in the car today.
Oh, that might be Leslie. Yeah, and Leslie is leading our early grade math. And I was mentioning the prep program earlier. What was so awesome about what we did last year for early service teachers, emergency certificate teachers is, these 2 ladies met with some folks serving as waitresses the day before, and now they're teaching geometry to 160 kids all day. And so we split into content specific areas just to show some love to our elementary math and our secondary math. And so it was awesome to have those at the state level to really dig in and work with those folks. So thank you. And another thing that's changed since Kathy was not with us today, and Carrie so gracefully offered to step in. So Kathy Jones is our new state director for ALSDE. She started back in the summer and has hit the ground running. And we're just really, really excited about the future of ALSDE. Thank you, Carrie.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you.
so I think I'm up next. I think I'm up next. I thought Carrie also is a proud new mom of a little baby Piper too. So I was saying she's in the backseat of that car. I am stepping up for Dr. Joseph Garner today for school improvement. He had to be elsewhere, but I do know a couple things about that. Is I was blessed to be able to work with school improvement for a number of years. We did hide some slides, so just know there's a lot of information for you. But we get asked about this every single year, and we love it. We love when we start hearing from you in June, July, like we got the new calendar ready. If you are new in your role and you have not seen either of these, go ahead and click on those links and download them and make them your own. But a few years ago, we created a principal calendar checklist of just those accomplished practices that principals should be doing throughout the year, things that they should be doing this month, things they need to be thinking about for next month. We tried to include hyperlinks just to make, principals' lives a little easier. We have actually, I think, 3 different iterations of that calendar. Some folks like a spreadsheet version, but these are all Google documents that you can download. And you know what? Put your own local events so that you just have one consistent document. And then some of you were harassing me a couple years into this, saying, well, what about us district folks? So Tim Solly and a number of district leaders and OSI, and many of you who helped us be thought partners in this work, created a curriculum leader calendar. So if you're an instructional coach, you're a curriculum director, you work at the district supporting curriculum instruction, we included a similar calendar to just help you think of things that are kind of on or should be on your radar month to month. Stacy Royster has a very similar calendar, and we link to that one as well. So it has recently been updated over the summer and is ready to roll. And this is just an example of what it looks like. This must be, I'm thinking, for the principal. I'm trying to see which one this would be. But you can see there are hyperlinks, testing dates, all those sorts of things that you're like, you need at your fingertips. Do know that we're providing a series of technical support training. Several of these have already started. William, I'm going to let you unmute and tell a little bit about that, because I know you've been helping this work. This is the first time in my tenure at the department. Yes, we've done a ton of ASIP trainings. I was the ASIP person at my school and then my district, been there and done that. But there were so many times I really wished I'd had a true thought partner, maybe from the region or from the state, to say, have you considered, here's some best practices. So if you are new to creating a continuous improvement plan, if you are new to supporting those who are creating continuous improvement plans, we will have a series of sessions near you. So William, I'll let you tell them a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this. As you said, we've had a great showing at all of the sessions that have occurred so far. We have 3 left after today. There's one currently happening right now in Birmingham in Region 5, but we have 3 more after today. We'll be in Anniston, I believe, tomorrow at Jack State. We'll be in Clinton on the 13th of this week for Region 7. And we finish up the series next week on the 19th. We'll be in Tuscaloosa at the Bryant Conference Center. So if you haven't had an opportunity to join us, please do. These are approved for credit for the Principals Act, and we've had a great showing of principals at all of our sessions. It's been great. The morning has been just some technical assistance, but the afternoon has been really where the magic is happening, where State Department personnel are there, regional personnel are there, and we're able to sit side by side with schools and school teams, brainstorm, think through what they're placing in their continuous improvement plans. Also deal with a few compliance things, as it comes up in ASIPs, and there is a compliance component to what we put about funding and how that aligns with the Title I diagnostic and all those other pieces that are involved. So we're happy to be there to provide that level of assistance as well. So yeah, been great series so far, and we're excited about our 3 remaining locations.
I see Sheila is giving a little testimony. Thank you, Sheila. We always love hearing things like that. When you can get principals, and I'm going to use her words in all caps, fired up about the ASIP, I think that says a lot. So those ASIP trainings are always, I would say they certainly are entertaining, engaging, thought-provoking. But like I said, this is the first time we've been able to say, we're going to come to you. We're going to come to each of the regions, and if you want to come and bring a team, we'll just sit with you and help you actually either construct your plan or revise it, whatever the case may be. A number of OSL professional learning opportunities are out there. We have already mentioned a moment ago about a lot of the work we're doing with, we say secondary literacy because it is really kind of where maybe ARI, has traditionally been focused on K3, but we are coordinating with ARI on with that 4th and 5th grade piece. There's so many opportunities for us there. So we're really excited to share some things that are coming. But OSI has regional staff across the state who are supporting content literacy, English language arts, writing across the curriculum, writing and reading across the curriculum. I will say their presentations are top notch. They are aligned to ACT, they're aligned to ACAP. But if you would like to have your teachers just join some virtual literacy labs, we'll have a series of opportunities from 3:30 to 4. You will find each of these ladies to be authentic. They've been there, they've done that, and are just great listeners to the work, but also just tons of resources to share. We are doing a lot of work with a number of our RICs around new teacher academies. If we do not have one near you yet, contact your RIC director and we will see what we can do. I think we started these maybe at Jack State, formerly known as JSU. And I attended several of them and they were just amazing. Just a space to bring our early service teachers together, really feed them. And we actually did feed them, but really kind of feed their souls, arm them with tools and resources. So please note that those are opportunities for you as well. And with that, yes, I'm saying, why don't you just scooch on over? I'm going to let Sue Ellen pick up with Ed Technology.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sue Ellen Gillen, and I'm the coordinator of educational technology. We have a few updates for you today. So we have several programs in educational technology. We have a team of people here at the State Department, as well across the state at regional in-service centers, to be able to assist you with things such as Access Virtual Learning, Technology in Motion, E-Rate, ALEX, and much more. So each CNI meeting, I try to bring a new tech tool and spotlight that for our participants. And so in thinking about the new tech tools, there are so many out there right now that have AI components. And many of these do very similar things, but they have a different platform or a different interface. And so it's really kind of up to you and what your preferences are as to which one may benefit you the most. However, we always have to make the disclaimer. So if you look at the bottom in very small print, to always check with your board policy and your tech directors, because it's essential to make sure that you're using tech tools that are compliant with those policies. We also are not highlighting or endorsing any tech tool over another one. So I feel like those lawyers, like the quality of services are not greater than the quality of services and by other lawyers. It's kind of the same thing. We're just spotlighting some things that people are using. The ones that we would like to spotlight this month are DIFIT. DIFIT is a way to differentiate instruction using AI. It is a way that you can generate text that are that's levelized for students. You can also adapt the text to quizzes. So it is a great way to differentiate instruction. Also, Matt Miller, the author of Ditch That Textbook, is an amazing instructional tech specialist and leader in technology. And he has provided over 40 tech tools that have AI components for the classroom. And you can see these in the links on your slide deck. As we're talking about the big hot topic of AI, one of the things that I've realized recently in doing a presentation is many of you may remember the cartoon, The Jetsons. And so that cartoon, I recently learned, actually debuted in 1962. I want you to think about that, 1962. And the things that they were displaying in 1962 and again in the 80s, things such as telemedicine, things such as remote work from home, virtual meetings, All of those things were projected to be around in 2062 when the Jetsons were living at that time. Those things are happening right now for us. And so when we think about technology, we have to think about it through different lenses. And artificial intelligence is another tool, another component that we have to look through. Many times when we think about the lenses, we think about, I have my glasses on now because that helps me see things differently. I didn't need these when I was 20, I had no reason to have these. So my lens at 20 looked very different than my lens today. When we talk about AI, we have to kind of look through another lens. We have to look through tomorrow's glasses that will look very differently, things that will look very differently for our students. So we think about tomorrow, what lens are you looking through? How are you going to prepare the students of today for the world tomorrow? And the way you can do that with AI is attend some of our professional learning. Our ATMs are providing an AI Power Hour once a month for an hour at 3:30. You can learn about the newest and latest technology tool with AI. Spend an hour with our ATMs and learn about a way that we can look through tomorrow glasses. Also, we have the AI policy template that you can discuss with your district of how to implement AI safely and effectively in schools. So as we continue, another program that's been tried and true and around for many years is Access Virtual Learning. So our Access Virtual Learning has been an amazing thought partner with school districts across the state. We have new courses. We also have more support than we've ever had. Our support centers are doing an amazing job of going out and supporting with tutoring. They have multi-tiered support systems in place. They can train facilitators. They can train counselors. They can also provide training for parents and stakeholders of what Access can offer. Now, many times we've heard in the past that Access is just too hard for our students. Access is actually, those courses are aligned directly to the Alabama course of study. Our Alabama courses of study are rigorous, and we don't deny that. But don't we want rigor for our students to be able to be successful in the future? And so because our courses are aligned to the rigor and to the standards and developed by subject matter experts right here in Alabama, you are guaranteed that the students are getting high quality instructional materials that they need. In doing so, we boast an 85% success rate this past year because we put into place things that support not only our teachers, our facilitators and counselors, but also our students. Things such as
Welcome to Access Virtual.
Things such as Access Live. Access Live is brand new. It goes back to that Jetsons idea of telemedicine, except for schools. It is a secure platform where students can get live assistance from instructional supports around the state. If they have questions about Schoology, if they have questions about Access, they have questions about the content, they're able to work with certified teachers across the state to answer those questions and provide that small group instruction. Also, if you have emergency certified teachers, these emergency certified teachers often are just trying to figure it out. What is happening on the day-to-day, and sometimes understanding, as Dr. Shields has already mentioned, what is a syllabus? How do I create one? What is a good quality instructional material? Providing them with access to franchise all of our content, our syllabus, our assessments, our pacing guide, all of the content that we use in a course is available for all of our courses for any teacher in the brick and mortar classroom to use at their disposal. And it's a great tool to help your new teachers, your emergency certified teachers, as well as veteran teachers who are just looking, hey, we have a new course of study, or we want to teach this a little differently or have some support in our curriculum.
Is Access franchise free?
It is free. It is absolutely free. So you have access to this
for all of your teachers, and it is a great resource that we provide.
We found, was it last year or maybe the year before, but to answer Dill's question about, Access Franchise, if you have a brand new teacher who is maybe teaching a difficult course, I'm thinking of biology or something like that, the Access Franchise course really provides a ton of scaffolding that can build some confidence. It really just depends on, your situation at your school. But we've had last year with the emergency certificate teachers, we found the Access Franchise model to be an awesome opportunity for them to be able to have the curriculum that had already been vetted, and that, we had already cross-checked it with the standards, that there were assessments. So it's something definitely to investigate to see how you might be able to use that.
And our team is here to support you. We can send out specialists to help train teachers on how to implement the curriculum, how to get the curriculum into Schoology and to use it with students. And so there's a lot of opportunity for support for your teachers. So please contact us. We would love to be able to be a partner with you. Also, on ALEX, we have our alabamastandards.org where you can find all courses of study. We have the new 2023 science course of study along with crosswalks and unpacked content. We are getting a new facelift for ALEX, and we are so excited. We are currently working on that and hope to have a new look to ALEX in the very near future. Also, we are gearing up for gyms. We had over 700 young ladies join us last year, and we hope that you will encourage your teachers to have a gyms team. We do have one date and location secured, and we're working on the others across the state. It's a great opportunity for your teachers and your students to engage in STEM-related activities. We are also piloting a gyms course online, and so there are 4 asynchronous models that teachers can learn how to enhance STEM education in your schools. And so as we finish this first cohort, we hope to be able to provide this again in the near future.
Now tell them for gyms what grades are targeted for gyms.
So I believe we look at K-12, but pretty much our 3rd grade and above is what we look at for gyms. But we do have some younger students who
So if you've ever had a chance to go to this expo, there are just no words. There are young women, as far as the eye can see, that are sharing things that they have created, sharing conversations. It is just incredible. So check it out if you are not familiar with that.
And not only is it a great experience for our students, but it is a way for our teachers to really engage with one another who are doing similar work across the state. So it's a great networking opportunity for educators as well. If you're using Schoology as your LMS, there have been some updates that you can see on the screen, including a password update. I think it's moved from 8 to 12 characters. Also, there's a new user interface and a lesson planner feature that is available. We have 2 people who support our Schoology LMS and answer questions. That is Caitlin Maddox and Allison Craddock. Both of these ladies do a great job in supporting any questions you may have with Schoology, so please feel free to reach out to them. We also have Power School coaches, and so you guys are probably very familiar and have asked them to come and do some Power School training. Stacy Royster, who is our SIS coordinator, is not able to be with us today as she has recently become a sassy. So her daughter had a little Oscar James last Wednesday, I believe. And so she is supporting her family and loving on a new grandbaby. But please know that we do have 4 Power School coaches that are ready to assist. And Stacy is always wonderful in providing assistance as well. Our Technology in Motion program is an amazing opportunity to provide professional learning to your teachers across your district and your schools. We do have a Technology in Motion specialist at each of our 11 regional in-service centers near you. We have some upcoming PD, including EdTech Tuesdays, Tim Talks, which is a podcast, as well as the AgriSTEM Expo. We are also in October having Don't Let AI Spook You, the sequel. And so Dr. Maben is providing that professional learning opportunity along with many others. These can be customized. So if you don't see something on the ATM calendar for PD, reach out to your specialist and they can customize PD for your district. E-learning will kick off with new courses in October. There's one course happening right now, but there will be 30 courses that roll out in October. And these courses are also aligned to the new Principal Act. So there are courses that you can receive credit for that as well. We will have AETC in June in Mobile this year, so please mark your calendar for these dates, along with E-rate boot camps are coming up. So if technology directors are listening or you know a technology director, please reach out to them and share with them these dates. As we're gearing up for the new year, we've already talked a little bit about ASIPs. There is a tech survey that is live in Cognia, along with our new process for completing technology plans. In the past, technology plans have kind of lived on a separate island. It was a separate document. Many times it was uploaded and it was completely separate from everything else. After many conversations with technology directors, Dr. Shields, curriculum directors, executive leadership, technology is no longer an island. It is embedded in everything and integrated in everything that we do in today's society. And so our tech plan should be no different. As a result, we are asking that district leadership discuss, where do you want your tech goals to live in your district? Districts are not one size fits all, so we're not going to require one document to fit everyone. However, we do want you to have those discussions. And so you can choose to have it at the district ASIP. You could have those goals in a strategic plan for the district. It could live in school level ASIPs. So there are 3 different options, and you need to be looking at 3-year goals. So please work with tech directors, and tech directors, please work with curriculum and instruction to help develop goals for the coming year based on the comprehensive needs assessment for technology that was due June the 14th. If you have questions, please reach out to our team. On the screen, you will find a QR code. This will give you a link to my digital business card with all of my contact information that will load into your contacts on your phone. So please know that our team is here to support you in educational technology. We are living in a very exciting time with AI and the new advancements. So we are here to support you and look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
Can you tell we have fun around here? So many things. I was looking around the screen because I can't see your faces because so many of you have, but so much good stuff. And I know when you leave these sessions, you're like, there's no way I can remember all this. And that is why we host every bit of this. We keep it online for you. And we're getting some great questions. So just know as some of this stuff marinates and you start to process it and like, I wished I had asked this. Please know. We have one charge, and that is, I say that all the time, and not to be corny, but it is to be a blessing to each of you. So know that if you think of something later, or just, you talk with a colleague and more about Access Franchise, we'd be happy to discuss that with you. And I saw there's a question about Schoology, and we will follow up with you on that one as well. There you go. I'm going to scooch over so they can see you better. Yeah, right.
Hey there, everybody. It is a pleasure to be here with you all. I'm Karen Anderson. It is a pleasure and privilege to serve as a director of the Office of Mathematics Improvement. I have a number of team members on the line. I have so many, I just lost count. Thanks so much for being here and supporting all that we do with OMO. So we have a number of reports that are due, and through this format of CNI meetings, I've been announcing and suggesting and letting everyone know that these reports are coming on board, and they are now here. there are a total of 10 reports minus these 3. So there are a number of reasons why these 3 are not included. The math coaching endorsement has just been approved by the state Board of Education. So it's going to take those standards rather. So it's going to take a while for our colleges and universities to actually create those courses and have the endorsement available. So I don't anticipate any reporting being done next year either. The fractional reasoning screener does not yet exist, so I don't anticipate reports there. And the elementary mathematics task force is deliberately and very intentionally working to gather information for an upcoming guidance document in the area of dyscalculia to ensure that there is appropriate and not over identification of students with dyscalculia. So minus these 3, the following 7 reports are to be submitted, and I'm going to drop in the chat an FAQ document that you can access. Hopefully you can access it. And secondly, I'm hopeful that this will answer any questions that might be lingering about these specific reports. I will ensure that this handout is uploaded into the same folder where you will find this presentation, and feel free to reach out to your OMI regional coordinator if you have additional questions. The Office of Mathematics Improvement has had an unwavering priority on ensuring that Tier 1 math instruction is clearly understood and implemented in schools across the state. We are now shifting our focus to include intervention in general. That's found in Section 6, I believe, of the law. You can see the pages listed here, pages 16 through 18. And as you look at these specific expectations for intervention, I don't think you'll find anything that's new or surprising or weird in any way. These are activities that you're already undertaking. These are things that you're already doing. It's just been fleshed out. It's just been explicitly listed. And we will work towards ensuring that schools are implementing intervention. Overall, what we know that you do and what we thank you for is when you know that students have any sort of deficiency, any kind of difficulty in mathematics, you provide immediate attention. You provide immediate support. That's what the law states. That's what we expect. And that is what you are doing. And for that, we continue to thank you. But again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to your regional coordinator, and we will continue to provide resources and support in this area in the future. As we shift toward documenting that support in Unified Insights, we ask, as this is new, that you document your Tier 3 support in Unified Insights, and you document your Tier 2 support outside of Unified Insights. Examples of what that intervention could look like could be found here. If you find that student difficulties or deficiencies fall in specific domains found in the course of study, you might look at these particular subtypes in Unified Insights. I remain grateful to the work group in the Office of Mathematics Improvement that worked diligently to create a list of interventions that can be found in PowerSchool. So please know that you have a rich assortment of intervention strategies that can be used as needed. Those mathematics interventions should be documented for those students who score 2 or more grade levels below their benchmark assessment. And also if they have received consistent Tier 2 intervention for 6 to 8 weeks and are not responding to that particular instruction. Just want to circle back to the great work that was done that yielded our improved ACAP scores. We're not where we want to be yet, but we are so excited about the progress that we have seen. you see here data for our current third graders and our current sixth graders. And I just really want to applaud the work that you are doing, because in the past, this particular domain or content area of measurement and geometry has typically been the lowest score across the state in all grade levels. And you can see here that it is not, or it was not at that time. Again, we are nowhere near where we want to be, but we do celebrate the progress. We know that with the data, knowing that data analysis, measurement, and geometry have yielded lower scores, that school districts have revised pacing guides to incorporate those topics sooner and more often, so that it wasn't a wait to the last minute kind of situation before ACAP. And students actually had the ability to learn and master these concepts prior to assessment. Just wanted to remind you of the rich resource that our ACAP blueprints provide. You can see here in the area of data analysis, measurement, and geometry that 20 points are possible out of a total 38. This is just for second grade. Another reason why this particular content area should not be left for the absolute last minute. It's going to take time to provide instruction, to provide support, so that students are able to master. So knowing that there are so many points in second grade particularly available, it just behooves us to ensure that those topics are incorporated during the school year. Everyone Counts remains a high quality professional learning opportunity for our principals and assistant principals. And as Dr. Shepherd-Jones mentioned earlier, these professional learning opportunities were created to align with those professional learning standards from the Principal Act. So please feel confident in knowing that you will get the content that you need for the required hours for the Principal Act. If you want specific details in terms of the dates, please use this URL and you'll get additional information. I felt very strongly that a similar or parallel professional learning opportunity should be made available for our district representatives, for those curriculum coordinators who wanted to know how they can support elementary mathematics instruction. And so to that end, we are counting on you to join us for a professional learning opportunity this afternoon. These will occur in the afternoon of every single CNI meeting, including today. So there will be a virtual option for this particular professional learning opportunity. We are in the process of submitting this project for a PLU. We're not able to submit until next month, but we remain hopeful that this particular session will be granted a PLU. So please join us today at 1 o'clock. Use the exact same link. Thank you so much, Dr. Shields. Use the exact same link. So come right on back at 1 o'clock and join us. We look forward to seeing you. You can see the topics here that will be covered include district sustainability, mathematical mindset, and I'm having a hard time seeing my own writing, continuous improvement. So please join us. Our previous sessions have been pretty well attended, and we look forward to seeing each and every one of you at 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Dr. Anderson, we did have a question in the chat. I think Dr. Schultz is about to say that. One of the questions was, I think there was a little bit of confusion around the deadline for reporting. So what is that deadline again?
The reports need to be in place by September 30th.
Okay, thank you. And then we had a second one come in, is how long will the OMI session be, from 1 to what time?
Thank you. I did not mention that. The previous sessions went for about 2 hours. We've actually been about an hour and 50 minutes around about. So just shy of about a 2-hour session.
Awesome. And that's all we have in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson. And yes, we're just gonna use the same link so that you don't have to register or do anything else. So just come back at one using that same link and we'll open it up.
Well, hello.
All right, here she is. So I am going to pass it on to Tara for special education. Hey, Tara.
Okay. My name is Tara Jackson. I'm one of the few and the newest members of the instructional support team in special education services. I have a short yet sweet list of awesome resources for you to take back to your LEA and share with the people that could use it. Can you all hear me okay?
You can.
Okay. Next slide. Principals back, sorry. I skipped. Principal Act. So you can use this link or QR code to access special education specific courses to meet the requirements for the Principal Act. Next slide. Assistive Technology Lending Library. If you have identified a student with complex needs or determined that there is a need for assistive technology, this is a library here where you can borrow equipment, but it begins in October, so you can't do it now, but October 1st, you should be able to access that equipment. So that's a great resource for those people that are, in an LEA, and you have a student that you've never had before, and you recognize that you have a need for them, and you can't get the equipment ordered fast enough. So this library is a perfect tool for you to use. Next slide. Differentiated instructional guides, or as we fondly call them in our section, the DIG. It replaced the curriculum guides. It's a tool that helps teachers identify a student level within a standard and be able to structure goals and lessons and to see student progress. One thing I want you to remember about the DIG, it's a tool for all teachers and all students. And I want you to think about special education students. These are students, they're general education students first, okay? But we can have that mindset that they're general education students first. But this is a tool that any teacher could use with any student. And we call it our baby because it's a painstaking procedure to go through to get it to where we can offer it to you. But when we see it at the end, it's like, oh my gosh, we just birthed a baby. So proud of it. Next slide. The subjects that are currently available are English. Math is out there, but we're tweaking it a little bit, so it's just being revised. Science should be available in the 25-26 school year, and that's our prediction. And social studies is coming after the new course of study following that. Next slide. Okay, alternate achievement standards are listed here, and these are the ones that should be utilized during the 24-25 school year. Note, there is a draft copy of the science standards that is available, but you should not be using that. You should be using the 2018 version until that draft is removed. Alternate achievement standards, AAS instructional toolkits. These are a collection of lessons for teachers to use for students working on the AAS that is formatted with 3 levels and includes activities. Now, what teacher wouldn't appreciate this resource? I mean, honestly, if I was a teacher and I was working and someone offered me this, and in my role as a psychometrist in the past, I went to go collect data from teachers, and a lot of them say, well, I don't know what to do with this child. Having this resource here available is an awesome tool. So please share. Next slide. Special Education Services resources. This is our one-stop shop for all things special education. Now, we understand the complexities involved in using that state website. So if you use this link or QR code provided, you can locate some of the most valuable special education resources that we have available. Next slide. For anyone with a student that has a vision or a hearing impairment and in need of assistance, the Alabama Institute for the Deaf and Blind has outreach centers throughout the state. The services include but are not limited to those on that slide. The link or the QR code direct you to their website where you can find more information and your regional contacts. Now, recommendations listed there, IEP consultation, those are alone are priceless resources. Next slide. Okay, there's also a resource that you may decide to use when writing an IEP and planning services for students who are deaf or hard of hearing. It is not mandatory, but it could be extremely helpful. One is this booklet, this purple booklet here. It's called Optimizing Outcomes for Students Who Are Deaf or Hard of Hearing. It was developed by a committee of state directors of special education. It provides educational services guidelines. It can be found under disability areas on the website or under the search deaf or hearing. Oh, back to that slide. One more thing I need to talk about. This link here also takes you to a supplemental document called the Communication Plan. And now it was created by an organization called Alabama Hands and Voices with support from the state focus group. There's 20-something-ish page document, which could be helpful in planning services for the population of students that are deaf or hard of hearing. Okay, next slide. Now, here's our email address. If you find that you later have a question about something that I mentioned today, feel free to use that email address. You also have a regional contact person on the Alabama Achieves website that is your first line of contact for all things special education and in your LEA. We have some openings, so that list could change any day. So that's why we didn't offer it, but it's also on the website. And that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tara.
You're welcome.
All right, I have a few things. Maggie asked if I would share a few things with assessment. We did hide some slides because it was really just informational items, but just a few things to make sure that you're aware. The practice test. I would love to see either a show of hands or a yes in the chat. How many of you used the practice test last spring or last school year? Okay. We have heard some incredible feedback from those of you who really provided lots of opportunities for your students to go in and take these practice tests. They'd be very familiar with the technology with ACAP. One of the things that Maggie wanted us to stress, oh, thank you, we got some great stuff, is that remember, we have the online tools training that we shared a number of years ago when we first moved to ACAP, so that teachers could go in and do some simulations, in front of the classroom. So the students could see how to use the calculator, how to use the ruler, the highlighter, and so forth, the structure of the test. And we really did encourage, and we still do, to use those as bell ringers, as opportunities to onboard your students. Just remember the practice test is different because the student has a unique login to go in and take the practice test. So you're going to be able to get some really great data. It's not encouraged to use the ACAP practice test in a whole group setting because it could, I'm assuming, I've not seen the complete data reports, skew that data. So I told Maggie that I would be sure to share that with you. We are continuing to hear how well the alignment between ACAP and the actual test. Very positive feedback and some great predictors for some of the areas that our students need to shore up before they actually take the test. Lots of on-demand webinars for you. These are all links to those. I would encourage you, in working with a number of your districts, if you have a vertical math team or horizontal math team, with your 912 teachers, I think this is a great way to start one of those teams, to have them watch one of these on-demand webinars as a content group and really think through that. Have considerations about are there areas that we need to focus more on, particularly when you're looking at the item specifications and then kind of the weights on specific skills. It definitely provides a lot of food for thought. So just a food for thought for you. The ACT guidance for understanding the ELA scores was provided in 2024. We get a lot of questions about how that is created and how we get that score. So ACT has provided just kind of let you see this flow chart of what that looks like. I know, William, you've done a number of trainings in this. Is there anything I missed that I should add with the ACT ELA scores?
No, we just included this because this guidance has been around, but ACT updated this in May, and it give a little more context to how the score was generated, as well as there's a couple of pages included now that talk about how the writing component specifically is calculated and what might result in like a null score, that kind of thing. So we just think schools may find that useful and helpful.
And just a shout out to secondary content literacy again, just as a reminder, especially if you are new to secondary and ACT testing, the reading and the writing in ACT is largely science, humanities, social studies. So students are asked to read an article about, I use artificial intelligence, and then use text evidence to justify their responses. So our teams are trying to provide a lot of opportunities to help teachers, help students build stamina for reading informational text and responding accordingly. Just some more preparation resources. District test coordinators have accounts to provide access for other school administrators. Remember that. Districts can still choose between 10th or 11th graders or a combination of the two to use ACT online prep. William, if you don't mind, will you throw the link in the chat in case we have some new curriculum leaders? OSI has a ACAP and ACT resource document where they have pulled all the great things that ARI has done, AMSTI has done, DRC has done to create a one-stop shop for you, but really for your classroom teachers. I was in Piedmont City Schools not very long ago, and I had pulled that up, and the teacher said, "Did y'all do that?" She says, "We use that all the time." I'm like, that's what we want to hear. So we are continuing to update that to make sure you have the most updated guidance as we are receiving it. If you have any questions related to ACAP, make sure that you contact us. Let us know how we can support you. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Vandiver to discuss accountability. Bring us home.
Can I use these?
You can.
All right.
Yes. And you just get over so you can see a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in the camera.
Yeah, you are.
I had no idea to be on the camera. I was dressed better. Hope everybody's doing well. We are working hard on our accountability system. Hopefully we can get that out to you very soon. The great thing about our system this year is that we don't have any changes to the system. Only updates to information. So here you'll see that our state and federal report cards will be published this fall. State report cards will have a letter grade assigned to each school district in the state. And then our federal report card data will be used to determine targeted support and improvement schools. And in addition, we will have schools identified as CSI from the fall of 2018 that have not shown improvement will be identified as CSR schools. And we'll be incorporating data from the 23-24 school year. Down at the bottom of this slide, you'll see those school lists for 2018, 22, and 23. So you can quickly check to see what schools are 2018 that we'll be discussing around CSIR. Secondly, our priority schools. Just want to remind you that schools that earn a B or an F on the state report card will be identified as priority schools, and that option of school choice must be offered. We'll be doing a school choice, kind of a, I guess a school choice kind of, what do you want to call it? For lack of a better word, kind of a training per se. For those systems that do have schools that will need to flex school choice. You'll be notified about that as well, but we want to make sure that all of these schools are abiding by the law. Lastly, in fall of 25, we'll be commencing the academic achievement of each student identified as a transfer student from a non-public school may not be considered in assigning an academic achievement grade to a school or school system for the first 3 years of enrollment. So this is a law that came through the legislature this past session, and this will impact the state report card only. And you'll see that the students, the educational progress of each of these transfer students will continue to be measured in the academic growth category. And beginning with the 4th year of enrollment of the transfer student, his or her academic achievement shall be considered in assigning an academic achievement grade. So again, this will only impact the state school system. And again, this will be coming in the fall of 2025. So for all of you who are doing well at kind of calculating these scores, this is something that you'll need to implement in 2025. If you need to contact us, please feel free to email us or use that number down below. Willie and I are more than willing to help you. Dr. Brooks is still getting tuned up with our report card. This is her first year, so she's diving deep into the report card and the business rules. So if you need assistance, please feel free to contact Willie or myself. And that is it.
Marcus,
You're so welcome.
you did a much better job than I have done. So and I always love it. We are, the team, I just want you to know, we are ahead of schedule. So I know our friends out there are appreciating that too. We have loved being out across the regions. We have been, help me out, Enterprise, Livingston, Anniston, at JSU Rick Center, or Jack State. Oh, gosh, that's hard to remember. Rick Center, and you see the rest of the year, if we have not been near you, we are coming. If you would like to host one of our curriculum instruction meetings in the future, just click there, use the QR code, let us know.